Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video we are going to be making this cute mini nutcracker. He is all one piece, and then we will have to put on his little belt and then a little bit of embroidering. And then I have also done him up in the plush version following this exact same pattern. For this video, I will be using a number 4 medium weight yarn, a 4.25 millimeter hook, and 10 millimeter safety eyes. And then for the plush version, I used a number 6 blanket yarn, a 5.5 millimeter hook, and 14 millimeter safety eyes. This is a crochet along, so I will be doing every stitch with you, and I am also providing a drop down at the top of the screen with the pattern instructions for the first 30 seconds of every row for you to follow along with. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you'll also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. Okay, I think that's everything, so grab your yarn and let's get started. All right, we are going to be starting at the top of the hat, and you can begin your rounds any way you prefer, as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be making a knot with the loop on the end, so what I do is I fold my yarn in half. I'm going to pinch it up at the top, wrap that around my finger, down and through to create a knot, and then I'm going to grab that little loop and pinch it and slide my knot all the way up so that my loop is just a little bit bigger than my hook. Insert your hook, grab your yarn, pull up, and chain 1. And that does not count as a stitch, that just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, going over top of the tail, we're going to do 8 single crochets into that loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you're going to pull on that tail if you need to close up that hole. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one, and for row 2 we are going to do 8 increases. So that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 16. So increase 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Increase 3 and 4 in the same stitch. Increase 5 and 6. Increase 7 and 8. Increase 9 and 10. Increase 11 and 12. Increase 13 and 14. Increase 15 and 16. Row 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase. Repeat that pattern all the way around for a total of 24. So 1 single crochet for 1, 1 increase for 2 and 3, and repeat that around. 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, increase, 17 and 18, 19, increase, 20 and 21, 22, increase, 23 and 24. Row 4, we're going to be going in the back loops. So to go in the back loops, instead of going straight under the V, like you normally would, you're going to come down, you're going to come through the V, and you're just going to catch those back loops, leaving these front loops, and then our hat will start to go at a bit of an angle. For row 4, in the back loops, we will be doing 24 single crochets all the way around. So down through the middle of the V and out the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 5, we're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 6, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and then on our 24th stitch, we're going to change colors. You're going to go in, grab your yarn, pull up, leave those 2 loops on your hook. We're going to cut the top of our hat color off, and then you're going to grab whatever color you're using for the band of the hat. And you're going to take that new color, tie it nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it, 2 or 3 times. going to take that new color, pull it through those 2 loops to finish off that last stitch of the previous row. Row 7, we are going to do 1 single crochet, then we're going to do 1 single crochet drop stitch. So we're going to start with our single crochet in the next stitch, and then instead of going in this stitch right here, we're going to drop down into the stitch on the row we just did. So instead of here, we're going here. So there's our drop stitch, just like we're doing a single crochet, but we're going down 1 row. So we'll be skipping every other stitch up here and skipping every other stitch down here. So single crochet, and then come down and do your drop stitch. Single crochet, drop stitch, 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 single crochet. Then you should end up on a drop stitch because we started on a single. I'll just give you a bit of a close-up there if you need to see. Row 8, we're just going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and then on our 24th stitch, you're going to go in and come up, leaving those 2 loops on your hook, because we're going to change to the little hair color now. So I'm going to cut my yellow, or whatever color you were using. And then you're going to grab whatever color you're using for the hair. And again, we're going to tie our new color to our old color, nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it, 2 or 3 times. And then you're going to bring that new color through those 2 loops on your hook to finish off that last stitch of your previous row. And for this next row, we are going to be going in the front loops. So again, instead of going underneath both those V's in your stitch, this time you're going to come up under your stitch and up through those V's, just catching the front loops. And this is very important because we're going to need these back loops in the next row. So for row 9, in the front loops, we're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. So down, up through that V, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and let's just flip it over. And if you're getting them right, you're going to see this line of front loops on the inside now. Continue on. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And then you're just going to slip stitch into that next stitch and then tie that off. Leave yourself a little bit of a tail so we can sew that into the inside. All right, now we're going to do the face color, and we're going to be attaching our yarn this time. You can attach your yarn any way you prefer. I'll be making my knot with the loop on the end. And then we're just going to flip our little guy over here. So you want to make sure you are going from the outside in, because you don't want to accidentally start crocheting the wrong way and it looks inside out. So I'm going to be going this way and in the same direction I was crocheting before. And if you're not sure what loop to start in, find the first stitch of your last row. You're just going to flip that around, and then that's the front loop that you're going to be going in right there. Attach your yarn. And I like to make sure my knot stays on the inside if I can. And we're just going to chain 1, and that's just attaching our yarn. That does not count as a stitch. And for row 10 in the back loops, we're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around, and starting in that first stitch you attached your yarn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 11, we are going to start off with 6 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now we're going to do an ear, and I'm going to be doing a double crochet cluster of 4. So we're going to yarn over, go into that next stitch, grab your yarn, pull up, grab your yarn, go through the first 2 loops on your hook. So that's 1 time. Yarn over, go in that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. So that's 1, 2, yarn over, go in that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. So that's 1, 2, 3, yarn over in that same stitch, grab your yarn, pull up, grab your yarn, go through the first 2 loops on your hook. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll have 5 loops on your hook, and now you're going to grab your yarn and go through all 5 loops. Give it a bit of a pull. You might have to push your ear out. And then we're going to do 9 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now you're going to do another double crochet cluster of 4 in the next stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go through all 5 loops on your hook. Hold it tight, push it out if you need to, and then you should have 7 single crochets left to finish off the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Row 12, we're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 13, we're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and then on our 24th one, we are going to go in, grab our yarn, pull up, because we're going to be changing to our jacket color now. So we can cut this piece of yarn, and then grab whatever color you're doing the jacket in. I'm going to be matching mine to my hat, so I got red. Then you're just going to tie that nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it, 2 or 3 times. And then grab that new color, pull it through those 2 loops on your hook to finish off that stitch from that previous row. Row 14, we're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 15, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 16, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and then on our 24th one we're going to change to the pant color. So grab your yarn, pull up, leaving those 2 loops on your hook. You're going to cut your previous color, grab your new color, and we're going to tie that nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it, 2 or 3 times. And then pull that new color through your last 2 loops of your previous row to finish off that stitch. Row 17, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 18, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And now we're going to take our hook out. We're going to add our eyes and a little bit of stuffing. So grab those and get those ready. And then what we're going to do for the eyes is we are going to find there should be a little hole right where your ear is joined on each side. You're going to skip a hole, put an eye in, skip a hole, put an eye in. So we've got our ear hole, skip a hole, put the eye in, come to the other side, skip a hole, whoops, ear, skip a hole, put the eye in, and then you should have 4 holes in between your eyes. And then let's put the backs on. And then you'll grab some stuffing. And what we want to do is kind of keep our hat flat. So we're going to hold that against the palm of our hand, and we're just going to stuff our stuffing up into the hat, trying to kind of make a corner as you're going. So I'm just turning it and pushing it up into the corners where those front loops were. And then slowly stuff a little bit more. We're going to stuff them about 2/3 full. So about where the red and the blue end, where the red ends and the blue starts. So about like that. And try and not stretch your stitches if you can help it. So we should look like this. Let's get our hook back in. And for row 19, we're going to be going in the back loop. So remember, you're going to go down in between the V's and out the back. And we're going to do, in the back loops, 1 single crochet, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 16. So 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, for 2, 1 single crochet for 3, 1 decrease for 4, 1 single crochet for 5, 1 decrease for 6, 1 single crochet for 7, 1 decrease for 8, 1 single crochet for 9, 1 decrease for 10, 1 single crochet for 11, decrease for 12, single crochet for 13, decrease for 14, single crochet for 15, and a decrease for 16. In row 20, we're just going to do 8 decreases all the way around. So 1 decrease, 2 decreases, 3 decreases, 4 decreases, 5 decreases, 6 decreases, 7 decreases, and 8 decreases. And then you're just going to slip stitch into the next stitch, tie that off, leaving yourself quite a bit of a tail in case you want to use this to come up and make a loop after. And you're going to add a little bit of stuffing if you need to. So what you want to do is come up into this little space, kind of making a corner right here. So if it feels kind of empty there, you'll just stick your stuffing in. And I'm turning it as I go, just kind of feeling where my stuffing needs to go. I need a little bit more there. So remember, you want this bottom to be flat. Remember, we're not closing this bottom because we're going to do all of our embroidery in there. Let's take our little brown, where's my needle? There it is. Our little brown hair tail. Now I'm going to use this to kind of bring down the top of the hat to make it sure it's flat. If you're not sure you can do it with a different color, you can just come in with red and go in and down. You'll just need to make sure you tie it here nice and close underneath where you won't see it, or go into this color if it's the same color as your hat, and you go up and do it. So I'm just going to go quickly a little bit into my brown and then down inside my head. And then when I come up, I'm going to come all the way through. Because we don't want to see this, I'm just going to try and catch a little tiny piece of yarn. So when I go back down, it's going to pull through to the underside. So you just want to make sure you grab a good piece that's going to let your yarn slide back down when you go back in the hole. And then out the back again, close to where you are going to tie it in the back. I'll just show you from the front. See how that'll slide right down and you can't see it? And then pull. I'm pretty sure if you use plush yarn, you're going to have to use red and maybe even regular yarn, just in case it breaks. And that's just going to keep it flat. So now I'm just going to tie it here on one of my stitches and then put it on the inside. and out the bottom. And then I'm going to cut that off. Okay, let's get rid of some of this mess here. We're going to do the little belt next. So grab whatever color you're using for that. I'm matching my headband here. And we're going to be attaching our yarn. You can attach your yarn any way you prefer, but I'll be making my knot with the loop on the end. But make sure you leave a little bit of a tail for tying and putting inside first. And grab your hook. And we're going to be doing it in between the shirt color and the pant color. So I'm just going to stick my hook in right in between and go around that stitch right there. Attach my yarn. And it will feel a little awkward at first, but once you get going, you should get a bit of a rhythm. If not, just take your time. So I'm pulling a little bit through, and then I'm going to make a slip stitch. And that's all we're going to do all the way around. So we're going to go into that next stitch, slip stitch, make sure you're going in the next stitch, slip stitch, go under the next stitch, slip stitch, next stitch, slip stitch, and then just continue all the way around. I'm going to take this time to remind you that if you ever want to share anything you've made with me, I have a Facebook craft page, and the link is down in the description under the video. You just got to click more, sometimes more again, and it should be the very first link you see. You don't have to join or follow or anything if you don't want to. You can just find a post on that page and then post your photo or leave me a comment. Or you can also kind of see what other people have done. I got some pretty cool creative followers that have made their own kind of additions to some of my patterns, or even just a simple color change. This makes a really cool difference. Okay, we're almost at the end here, or back around to where we started. So because we go in the round, our rounds are going to be offset a little bit. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go over into my next stitch here. And then on my next one, I'm just going to do a diagonal across. And then tie that off. Again, leave a bit of a tail. We're going to tie those together and put them on the inside. So I'm going to thread the end that I just finished with. I'm going to come over into this first stitch I made. I'm just going to kind of bring them together however you feel you need to make it look. I'm not too concerned about the looks, but I'm just going to come back again and out and around so that I'm in the same spot my starting tail is in. Just so when I tie my knot, both pieces are together. And it kind of looks like you made an extra stitch in there to finish it off. So once you have them together, we'll tie them once or twice, and then we'll just put them on the inside. So down and out the bottom. And now that I've used my stitch marker to mark the back center for this row of stitches, I'm going to take my stitch marker out. And let's cut these ends. And now let's put our little hands on. So I'm just grabbing a matching color to the face color. We'll thread that on. And you got to kind of think ahead when you do this little bit, because we're going to have to put the yellow bars across here. So just kind of think about how wide you want your bars, because we're going to go in. So if our hand starts here and goes backwards, so if this is our hand, our bar is going to start here and go across. So we want to know where our hand on this side is going to be. So like the first time I did this, I had 4 stitches wide, and the second time I only had 3. So let's start off with our first hand. We're going to come under the center of the eye. So we're just in that top row of red where the red and the face color meet, and we're centered under that eye. Pull most of your yarn through, leave a little bit for tying, and you're going to come backwards towards the back, and we're just going to wrap around this stitch about 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, then on our 4th one we're going to come over to this side, and my stitches seem to line up pretty good for under the center of the eye. So when I do this one, it will be 4 holes wide for my bar. Now we're going to go backwards and do this hand. 1, 2, 3, and then on our 4th one we'll go out the bottom. Don't pull that too tight because we want them to be a bit poofy. We'll give those a cut. We'll take a little bit of black to do the feet. And then for the feet, we're going to come up just above this row of front loops and just kind of in the center underneath our hands. So up through the bottom, find whatever stitch you feel is right. So I'm just above that front loop and centered above my arm. And we're going to go to the inside for the feet. So we're going to pull most of our yarn through, leave some for tying, go to the inside and wrap around the stitch 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, and then on our 4th one we'll come over to the other side, line it up the same way. So just above that front loop, centered underneath the hand, and then towards the inside 4 times around this stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and then on the 4th one go out for tying in the bottom. Tie that nice and tight, and then cut your ends. I think I'm going to use this for the mouth if I can. So hang on to that if you have extra. Actually, let's do that right now. So I'm just going to be splitting this little scrap of black to make my mouth. So there'll be 4 strands, and I'm just going to take one of my strands out. On the plush version, I used a number 4 yarn for the mouth. Just pull that out. We'll put that on our needle. Come up from the bottom again, and we're going to come over 1 hole from the eye. Leave some yarn for tying on the bottom. Got some weird stuffing there, strand. And we're going to come down and over to the center. I'm going to go in a stitch. I'm going to go here, down, and over to here. So this is my center. So I want my center and my mouth to be even. So I'm going to come into this stitch instead of a hole. Just grab a bit of that, come up over in that next stitch over, and then go back down in that same hole in the same spot and out the bottom for tying. And try not to pull this too tight. And we'll just tie that kind of loose to begin with, and then a little tighter as you go. Once the knot doesn't slide, you have it tight enough. And then now let's do those little bars on the front of his shirt. So grab whatever color you're using for that, thread it on, come up the bottom, and we're just going to go in the stitch beside our hand on each side. So to up the bottom, one of those holes right beside the arm, and I'm in between the first 2 rows of red. Pull most of your yarn through, leave some for tying, and then you're going to go into this hole on the other side of the arm. Now that'll be your first bar, and when you go to do your second bar, just come out in the next set of rows wherever you feel is straight. So this will be a little off here, so I'm just going to catch piece of that stitch so it'll line up. You'll see I have just a tiny little bit of that stitch instead of going in the hole. And then come over, and I think I can go in that hole. It'll be okay. And out the bottom for tying. That looks pretty good to me. Can always pull them a little bit if you need to, and then give them a tie. And again, I do this one loose and slowly tighten as you go, just so you don't pull them if you have them nice how you like them. Then we'll give those a cut. Oh, we need that still. And now let's close up our bottom. So I'm going to put on my finishing tail. Now, if you want to hide these little ends, it's not too bad if it's a dark color, but if it's a light color, they will show through. I'm just going to put a little bit of stuffing in there, just kind of to hide that, and then you'll never know. And to close them up, we're just going to weave in and out of these top loops of our last row. And if you're using plush yarn and it tends to break easily, go about halfway or less, pull it, and then go the rest of the way. And that should help with the breakage when you give it a pull. So we'll pull that tight, go into our next stitch and tie a knot. Go up through the center, and I'm going to be going out the top because I don't know what I'm doing with these yet. They're going to be hanging or sitting or what. I just like to have that option to make a little loop or hook up there. And there we go, our cute little Nutcracker. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you'll also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. I'd also like to say thank you to everyone who has been so kind to have hit the thanks button and sent me such generous donations. You will now be listed at the end of all my next videos as my super thanks friends. Take care, be safe, and happy crocheting!